$1 trillion has just been wiped out from the US market. There has been a bloodbath, and Nvidia has been the biggest victim. It has lost around a humongous $600 billion in value. Along with it, Alphabet, Microsoft, and even European chipmaker ASL has also turned red, and Deepseek, a Chinese AI company, has been the perpetrator of this wreckage. But why some headlines are saying that this monster has been created by the US itself? Let's dive into it. So, Deepseek is an AI chatbot, just like ChatGPT. It launched its chatbot on 20th January, and within a week, it rose to the top of Apple's App Store chart, defeating OpenAI's project ChatGPT. Now, what's the interesting part is that the Deepseek R1 model is free, while the comparable ChatGPT version costs around $200 per month. So, is it inferior to GPT? Because why would someone launch its product for free if it is of higher quality? Surprise, surprise, the answer is no, it's not inferior to ChatGPT. Let me show you this graph. So to compare between Deepseek and GPT, some tests were conducted. In the graph, the blue dashed line is the free R1 version and the dark grey one is the OpenAI's paid version. And when these chatbots were subjected to a test like coding challenges on Codeforce's website, a maths test or general knowledge test, this was the result. In coding, 96.3 for R1 and 96.6 for GPT. In general knowledge, 90.8 for R1 and 91.8 for GPT. So in these tests, you can see this free version is only a tiny bit inferior to the paid GPT version. So it was obvious that Deepseek will gain so much momentum so quickly. But you also said it's the US who created this monster. Let me tell you why. It's no secret how much the Americans love the Chinese. And to display this love, the US government banned critical tech exports to China. And in 2022, the same thing happened. The US government stopped the export of Nvidia A100 and H100 chips. And why these chips are important? So LLM, that is large language models like ChatGPT, are all trained with some parameters. And by some, I mean around 600 billion parameters. And to train the machine, you need a high-tech GPU, and the Nvidia H100 is the most short GPU out there. The importance can be seen by this chart. These US companies have already acquired $1 billion of the chip. For example, Meta has acquired 350,000 of them, which amount to a staggering $14 billion. Because cost of one of these chips is between $20,000 to $40,000. So these Nvidia GPUs are fueling the AI boom, and to have this AI edge, Biden banned their export in 2022. Since Deepseek is Chinese-based company, it ordered some A100 chip before the ban, but when it got banned, Nvidia designed a less optimized chip with reduced capabilities and named it H800. So its name is 800, but it is inferior to the H100 version. And since these chips were inferior to the H100, US government allowed its sale to China. And even with the inferior and cheap H800 GPUs, the Deepseek company was able to train and make its chatbot. On one hand, OpenAI spent $100 million to train the ChatGPT 4 model, and on the another, Deepseek used just $5 to $6 million to train its model. Now, how did Deepseek manage to bring down the cost so much? In short, they brought down the computation cost. What they did was they used reinforcement learning techniques, which in lame terms, you can say they trained their model using hit and trial method. So they give their model choices, and if the model chose the wrong choice, then they corrected it. And with large-scale reinforcement, they corrected the model. I know it's getting a bit geeky, but I'm trying to explain with best of my capabilities. So in short, they are using hit and trial to teach the model. While the other companies also use this hit and trial, but before the hit and trial learning, they fine-tune their model. You can think of fine-tuning like teaching a well-educated person a new skill. And so other companies did fine-tuning plus reinforcement learning, while the Deepseek did only reinforcement learning. And the impact was huge. While OpenAI needed around 20,000 Nvidia chips, Deepseek achieved it with only 2,000 of the lower quality GPUs. Now you can imagine what happened after. When the news broke out, Nvidia stock plummeted and lost around $600 billion in a day. Because if you see earlier, investors were thinking that since AI is booming and Nvidia is on the front of chip making, its market will grow exponentially. And this sentiment was also felt in its stock prices. If you see this graph, in January 2024, the price of one share was only $62, and within an year, it grew to $149 per share. But since Deepseek has shown that even big models like these don't require so much GPU, therefore the stock prices has dropped to 17% in one day. Remember, I told you that US created this monster? So in this context, it's been said that since US banned the pricey GPU, it resulted to innovation, because we all have heard the quote that necessity is the mother of invention. So these Chinese firms had no option other than to innovate. And this is being called the Sputnik Moment of China, because until Sputnik's satellites were launched by the Russians, their tech was considered inferior by the Americans. And in some way, Chinese products were considered inferior and was also considered as a cheap copy. But with Deepseek topping the Apple Store, the US tech hegemony has been challenged. And with this is end of today's video. This is Raj signing off. Like and subscribe for more.